Hey everyone, and welcome to r/unpopular opinion. Because apparently, I want to start a fight on this channel. Now seriously, this is a sub I came across quite recently, and it's a place where people, you guessed it, can voice their unpopular opinions. Some of these are really interesting, that's why I wanted to cover them. So, I'll go through them, you guys can share your opinions down below, and make sure to also say whether you like this sub or not, because that will determine if I make more videos about it. But with that said, let's not waste another second and get straight into this first one by user/f_and_shreddit. It's so effed up that talking to kids is taboo. This is something I seriously want people's opinions on. I saw a post of Leo DiCaprio taking a selfie with a young fangirl, looked like 12 years old or something, have a US Open, and just sitting there chatting to her. The first comment I see is, I don't know, this makes me uncomfortable. I can't tell you how much this annoyed me. Someone, in my eyes, doing something so effing cool as giving a fan the time of day and chatting to them can instantly be associated with pedophilia? It makes me sick. And then we call out celebrities when they don't want to take a selfie with us? I love kids, I love listening to them, I love escaping reality with them. I love teaching them, I love watching them grow. How does someone see that and think, well then, you must love passionately hugging them too? How effing disturbed are you as a person for your mind to make that route? In this picture, Leo isn't touching the girl. He's not sniffing the girl or doing any other creepy stuff. How is talking to a young person instantly associated with pedophilia? We desperately need to change this attitude, because the people protecting and making young kids feel comfortable are being shamed and wrongfully accused of pedophilia. By all means, at all times be wary, just don't jump to pedophilia. That is effed up, and we need to change that mindset. And what I think I'm gonna do with these is do a sort of little commentary, voicing my thoughts on this opinion, if I agree, disagree with it, and maybe throwing around some ideas I see in the comment section. Now, I'm actually going to start this one off with an interesting statistic that kidnapping is actually super rare. I think it's not even one of the top 500 ways to die. At least, I think that's a statistic from the US. And most kidnapping is done by family members. So I find that insanely interesting. Because it's one of those things we're told to look out for, but it's actually so rare. Now, as for my own personal opinion, I think kids can be really interesting to talk to. They just think in a completely different way. I feel like I have been asked the most interesting questions by young kids. And if you're just talking to them or doing some activity with them, there really shouldn't be anything wrong, especially if parents are around and it's public place, everything's safe. It's an interesting one for me to comment on as a young male myself, because I feel like I would be a prime suspect if I were to talk to kids. So yeah, leave your own ideas down below, and we'll move on to the next one by user/NickSeal1994. Being a loner is an acceptable lifestyle and should be free of negative stereotypes. I'm a loner. I was diagnosed with SAD as a teenager. I'm 25 now. Oh, and for those interested, SAD is social anxiety disorder. Basically, you get anxious interacting with other people. I live alone and spend all my free time playing video games. I'm unable to make social connections due to being socially withdrawn from society since I was 16. I gave up trying to make friends and connections with people, and have grown quite happy with my situation. I'm not a school shooter, serial killer, pedophile, rapist, or any other kind of criminal. The amount of people online that stereotype creepy and reclusive people like me as various criminals is ridiculous and ignorant. I blame the media for propagating these stereotypes. I'm just a hermit. Yes, I live in fear of being accused as a criminal because of these stereotypes. People shouldn't be discriminated against for being socially withdrawn and looking creepy. People are just looking for someone to bully. Shy, socially awkward men seem to be an acceptable target. It disgusts me and makes me glad that I'm not normal. And this one's an interesting one because I feel like the Reddit audience would be quite biased to be more accepting of a loner sort of lifestyle. And for me, it's as simple as everyone's different. Not everyone is going to need or want the same level of social interaction. I mean, it should come as no surprise that as someone who makes Reddit videos on YouTube, I am not the most social person out there, but at the same time, I definitely enjoy connecting with people and doing things with others. But at the same time, I understand there are people who enjoy being alone and not really interacting with anyone. And it's just a matter of being able to accept that and not stereotype them. I guess that goes for a lot of things, and we do tend to judge people who are different from ourselves. Once again, leave your opinions down below. I am curious what everyone has to say. Okay, now I know the first two have been fairly high-end, really up there. This next one is a little bit more mild, but I think it's still quite interesting. So let's get into this one. By user / is my name Shreyas. Wasting food for the sake of entertainment is disgusting. Well, the title sums it up pretty well. The concept of influencers or YouTubers wasting anything that's edible and nutritional is just awful. Wasting food is already a thing that should be condemned, but doing it for the sake of entertainment is just a new low. My main trigger was when influencers threw gallons of milk in stores as a prank, and the channel How To Basic is especially infuriating. I stumbled upon a video not knowing what actually happens, thinking it to be a normal video to make bubble tea. But it turned out to be something that made me very uncomfortable. Such wastage of food in such times is extremely disgusting and should not be encouraged at all. How people find this to be fun is beyond me. The whole pouring juice or milk on aisles of a store is so immature, as they don't have to clean up the mess they make, not to mention the wastage of resources too. Another fun fact, I know I'm giving a lot of these today, is that the world actually produces enough food for there to be no world hunger. We produce enough food for everyone to have enough, but it's just not distributed equally. I mean, I'm not sure if this poster is angry just at wasting food or at some particular type of video in general, but I can definitely understand this one, and I also feel like this is a very cultural and generational sort of thing. Because for me, it's not something I see as disgusting, these food challenges. I can objectively look at them and see them as wasteful and something that we shouldn't be doing. But at the same time, I don't have a deep moral sort of sense of, wow, this is really bad. On the other hand, I know people like my parents or grandparents or other people who are a little bit older, they see this as absolutely horrifying and they will just not watch a video like this. Because it is just deeply repulsive to them that food is getting wasted like this. So I do think generation, culture have a great deal to do with this. Depends on your upbringing and a whole lot of other factors. And I guess that's why we're here in Unpopular Opinion, to get a look at these views and see what people are thinking. And here's our next post by user / memwave. If an animal can kill me, then it's earned the meal. I was once posed the question by a vegan asking how I, as a meat eater, would feel if an animal wanted to eat me for a meal. In my mind, if that animal can kill me, I'd like to think I wouldn't make it easy. Then it has more than earned the meal. It should be left to eat me, or if people want to retrieve my body, tranquilized and given a decent amount of food. Because it's effing earned that food. Disclaimer, I respect vegans and their dietary choices. There is no malice intended from this post. A lot of vegan food is delicious. I mean, this is one that I just find to be a cool hypothetical question. Like, how would you feel if an animal ate and killed you? I mean, I guess I sort of see the idea behind it being that the animal deserves it, so why not? And here's our next post by user / Sandy T. Men have fragile egos because the average woman doesn't know how to tell men things in ways that make them want to listen. Before the whining about mansplaining begins, I'm a woman, so don't waste your nail polish. I hear too often how women can't tell him various things bothering her because he has a fragile ego. No, you can't tell him these things because you're attacking him and being hateful when you tell him. You also can't tell him things because you only tell him negative things. You're ungrateful. If you tell a man, I like it when a guy gives me chocolates, he'll probably give you chocolates. If you snap at him that maybe you'd forgive him if his lazy butt got off the couch and got you some chocolates, you're likely to only get a big argument. If he gets you the wrong kind of chocolates and you tell him so with all the fury in your rotten little soul, you're to blame when you get no more chocolates. If you tell him how much you appreciate how hard he tried, and actually, appreciate that he did try, and then say that your favorites are X-type, but you'll enjoy these today because being from him makes them special, you'll get your favorite next time for sure. And before you stamp your entitled little foot and screech that he should just listen to you no matter how you say it, maybe you should consider the fact that's the sort of thing a spoiled child would say, not an adult. If you can't be bothered to be thoughtful towards him, you're a spoiled, demanding brat, not a woman. Appreciate him like loving adults appreciate each other. Consider his feelings and stop demanding consideration you don't give. Cut the double standard. Don't abuse your partner. Don't talk to him in ways that you'd never tolerate from him. Oh, and stop being prickly and refusing his help. Let him help. It's not infantilism. It's partnership and caring. If you're an island, be single. Relationships are not all about you doing everything alone while demanding the other person magically read your mind to know when he's not allowed to be a kind human and pitch in. And if you're not like that, I'm not talking to you. Damn, this person seems angry on an issue. I mean, I kinda get it. I feel like we can expand this one though to not just be men towards women, women towards men. This is just like a, let's all be nice to each other. That just makes our life a whole lot better. When we can get along, talk to each other just fine, and not just be passive-aggressive from the get-go. That just makes life that little bit easier. Actually, who am I kidding? It makes things a lot easier. So, moral of the story, be nice to each other, guys. And here's the next one. This one we get to see a lot in r/entitled parents by user /Zaru77. Overprotective parenting is an issue that doesn't get enough attention. Parents going over the top on protecting their children is not only leading them on a direct path to be screwed as adults, but also waste their whole childhood. Kids need to go see friends at the park, play video games, and just have fun. Also, keeping your child sheltered from everything slightly different from them is training them to be judgmental. As a 16-year-old, it honestly makes me sad to see classmates not being allowed to see their friends or have a phone and being totally oblivious to the world. It baffles me how some parents think it's a good idea. Yeah, and I'm liking some of the ideas that the comments are throwing around is when these kids get a bit older and they get a taste of this freedom, like for example they go to college, and they just go crazy. I mean, childhood, and especially the teen years, are a time for learning and development, seeing new things, getting a taste of what different things are like. And I mean, if you're really sheltered, you're basically doing the same stuff later, when it's maybe not so socially acceptable. This is a really interesting one, because I feel like this is the sort of stuff we get to see a lot in r/entitled parents, and even some of the other subs. And it's really something that seems to have become a lot more prominent. So I'm curious to hear your opinions on this one, guys. And here's the next one, by user /Loople. The world has a drinking problem. There are so many posts around, can't wait to get my first beer out of lockdown, or the constant conversations about, I just need a drink. I haven't had a drink in so long. It's killing me. At the start of lockdown, most of the conversations were about drinking too. When they could start drinking, where to get drinks from, and etc. Now, I enjoy getting a drink every now and then, but how bloody desperate can you be? And it's such a boring topic. Hey, the topic can be boring, but then once you start drinking, it gets a little more fun. Actually, this is probably the first one that I feel I kind of disagree with. I feel like people talk about alcohol, but then they don't really end up getting that drunk or drinking too much. It's kind of a culture to me that feels like a culture of talking about alcohol, but not necessarily drinking. And here's the next one, by user /OneSaltyMF. Paper straws are effing stupid. I'm sorry, but whose idea was it to make a straw out of paper? Any buffoon knows that paper and liquids do not go well together. Look, I'm totally for not using single-use plastic products. That's fine. And it's better for the environment if we do so. However, plastic straws make up 0.025% of the total plastic waste currently in the ocean. The way I see it, focusing so heavily on straws simplifies the real problem too much, and prevents real change from happening. From my research, recent plastic straw bans haven't even made any noticeable difference. Likely because the entire straw problem is relatively negligible. Also, compost straws exist. They're actually way sturdier than plastic straws, and I feel better using them for obvious reasons. F paper straws. And I mean, I totally agree with this one. I tried drinking from a paper straw once, and it literally fell apart. I can't remember what I was drinking, but it fell apart. I just had paper floating around in my drink. And also, there are so many different substitutes. Metal straws, silicone straws, all reusable. Just clean them, use them again. I also love the metal straws because they can double up as chopsticks. You just grab two, and they are so versatile, so beautiful. Though OP does raise a really good point. Plastic straws don't really account for that much waste, and maybe we should be focusing on the bigger things. I do think we really should also be looking at the smaller things like plastic straws. It's a very good place to start. But also, maybe don't substitute them with paper straws. And guys, I think this post will be the last one for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel for Reddit videos 3 times every single week. Now, there have been a few more coming up lately. I've got the time to make them, so I hope you're enjoying them. But with that said, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and all I want to do is see you all here next time. See you later, guys.